We will get rolling. Hello, everyone, and thank you for giving us 30 minutes of your time this evening to hear about an opportunity that can help you change your life and your family's life. I am Stacy Loftus from Charleston, West Virginia. I will give you a little bit more of my background as we go through, but here are some things that you're going to hear about. You're going to hear some stories from some ordinary people who caught a vision that has changed their life in so many different ways. You're also going to hear from one of our co-founders, Mark Walker. He is going to go over the culture and the early vision of the company and where it has grown from the beginning, which was in, I believe it was 2010. And then you're also going to hear stories about how people have opened up the time freedom to have the extra time to spend with their families and make the memories that they get to make. So first of all, let me give you a little introduction to myself. Like I said, I am from Charleston, West Virginia. I am a retired police officer after 22 years, and that is all thanks to Zingular. When I started with Zingular 9 years ago, I was looking for an exit strategy to where I could retire early. When I got started, I was not 100% sure this was it, but I'll tell you, it did not take me long to realize that it was. And in a short amount of time in the beginning, my wife and I were able to pay off our investment into Zingular within just a couple of weeks. We paid off, I think it was $23,000 in debt in the first 6 months. We have been able to donate to our church. We've been able to donate to local charities in our community, and we've been able to help people out on a personal and private level that no one knows but us and them. And we've been able to travel a lot more. Some of it's been free with Zingular, and they roll out the red carpet with our passport program. And we have a 3.5-year-old, soon to be 4-year-old grandson that we get to spoil quite a bit and do a lot of things with him and make a lot of memories with him that we could not do if it was not for Zingular. And just as an example, I am able to pick him up from school/daycare at 2:30 every day and spend a few hours with him, making some memories, having fun before his mom picks him up. So we are going to first kick off with hearing from Mark Walker. He is our co-founder of the company. And just to give you a short story, and I know Mark has heard me share this story with others, but when I first met Mark, I could tell that there was something unique and different about him. He's one of those people, if there's 1,000 people in the room and he's talking to you, he makes you feel like you are the only person in that room. And one of my first sit-down meetings with him, we talked about my business with Zingular, my vision with what Zingular can do. So I asked him, when would be a good time for me to retire from the police department and start doing Zingular full time? And I really thought he would say, well, as soon as you can. I thought it was going to be that quick of a short answer. His reply to me was, well, when you build Zingular up to where you're making about 2 to 3 times more with Zingular than you are from the police department, then that's when you should start thinking about retiring, but not until then. And that told me right then that this man has the best interest for me and my family over me leaving the police department too early and try to build Zingular too early in my life or my career. So Mark Walker, if you would, please unmute yourself. And what I'm going to ask you to share is something I know you shared with a lot of people over the years, and talk about the culture of Zingular, how it was built, the early days of the vision, and what we've grown to and what we've become today.
All right, will do. Thanks, Stacy. And it's a pleasure being on with you and Melissa tonight. And I appreciate the invite. And Stacy pretty much covered everything. I could just kind of say thank you and we'd be done here. But the thing is, from the very beginning, and Stacy was in pretty early and saw us as we were just kind of getting started. But when we were thinking of starting Zingular, when I was approached and asked to be a part of it, I talked to the owners and I just said, listen, I have some pretty strong feelings after at that point 20-something years in the industry about how we should and how we shouldn't do things. And our owner Rudy said, okay, what do you think? What do you have in your mind? And so I went over with him these things, both the things that I thought we needed to do, that we had to do, to build a good company, and also the things that I thought we shouldn't do if we were going to build a good company. And the really cool thing to me was that they agreed on most everything. And if I brought up something new, they say, okay, why do you feel that way? Explain to us why you feel that way. And I would explain it to them, and they would say, well, yeah, okay, that makes total sense. Or yeah, we believe the same thing. And we put a company together that again, from the very beginning, before we ever sold our very first product, we had a couple of things in our head that we wanted to do. And number one, we wanted to build a good company. We wanted to, as in my vernacular, I guess, we wanted to bring all the good that is in this wonderful industry into one company and leave out the things that we thought we didn't want to either hurt our distributors or hurt the company. And I'd seen great companies that were destroyed because of poor decisions. I'd seen great companies that had a hard time and struggled because the corporate people tried to limit the distributors and how much they could earn. And I'd seen companies where from the very beginning, the owners ask a couple of questions, and this is something I've remembered now for pretty much 30 years. These two questions: what is in the best long-term interest of our distributors, and what is in the best long-term interest of our company? As decisions were being made, those are questions they asked. They would come up with what they thought was a solution to something, and then they'd say, okay, what's in the best long-term interest? And they'd go through both things. And that obviously stuck with me as a 5-year-old, 4-year-old kid back then. Hearing those words, I obviously remembered them, and I obviously was impressed with them, because it struck me even then that they're not just looking for a quick solution, or they're not just looking for quick growth. They're looking for the best long-term solution, the thing that's in the best long-term interest of the distributors and the company. And when we were putting Singular together, that's one of the things that I asked the owners. I'm like, are you trying to build this company and then you want to sell it, or what are you trying to do? And they're like, no, we've had this other company for 22 years, and we know that it has to be long term. And then Rudy said something that I believed very, very firmly, but I had not voiced yet. And he goes, Mark, we have to make the best decisions possible because we hold the distributors' lives in our hands. And I was like, perfect, right? That is exactly how I feel, how I believe, and I think how we need to make sure that we started around this company. And so that's what we did from day one. That's the main thing that we've done, is we try to make decisions that are in the best long-term interest of both our distributors and our company. Because if we do what's in the best long-term interest of you guys, then we're going to be fine as a company, right? And so that is the key thing that I think we do. Now, we also wanted to make sure, darn sure, that we had some phenomenal products. Anybody that's used our products, you guys know that they work really, really well. And a lot of them do more than one thing, which I love. I love it when people call me and say, hey, I used your products and I feel this way or this happened. And I'm like, great, that's not the main thing that people use that product for, but I'm glad that it gave you that result, because we're each built differently. Our genetics are different, our health histories are different. And so it's what something does for Melissa or Stacy might be something totally different for me. What somebody like Logan, who you're going to hear from in a minute, who is way young and in shape, and her joints still work and everything, she's going to get a different result from a product than I will, right? And I love that fact, because again, that's a multifaceted product that works, and just that drives everything else. Okay. And then, Stacey talked about the pay plan, and this is again something that I love just as much as the products, because you heard a quick little brief of Stacey's career with Singular, but I want you to know a couple of things. That in the early days, he was working full time, he had a family, and he was doing this part time, right? And even though you were doing well, it was a part-time thing. And I know that businesses grow and they kind of fluctuate. Plus, Stacy back then wasn't the leader that Stacy is now, right? And I knew that if he quit too early, that's so much pressure, and it makes something that should be fun and should be, again, something you just do part-time and get some extra income, and there's not a lot of pressure on it. That turns it into a lot of pressure, and it makes it something that it shouldn't be. And so that's why when we talked, Stacy and I just said, listen, when you're making 2 to 3 times from Singular what you're making at your job, all of a sudden you can quit, you can not quit. You know what I mean? Your business could go up and that's great. It could go down some. It's not going to hurt you. It takes all the pressure off again, and it makes it so that again, it's as it should be, which is something that's fun. That yeah, you have to work hard, but that's not that pressure is not on there. And so that is again something that I believe very strongly. Somebody that's just starting out, you're going to do fine if you're consistent and you put in that work. Somebody who is just wants to make a couple of $100 and that's all literally all you want, you can do that easy here. Okay, you can come in, you can share, and you can start making a couple of $100 a month. And if you want more than that, then we have that for you too. Up into where Stacy talked about being able to retire early, be able to pick up his grandson, and nobody's saying, "Hey, you have to be here at this time," right? Uh, and I know that was a big deal before, even with our travel. You talked a little bit about the travel in the early days. Somebody that we all know and are looking at had a hard time actually getting off work so he could go on the trips that he earned, and caused a little bit of problems. But that again is something that Stacy doesn't have to worry about now because there is nobody telling him what he has to do, right? You only get so many weeks off a year. You have to be here on this day because something's going on. All that kind of stuff is now gone, and so he has the not only the income, but he has the freedom, the lifestyle that he wants to live his life in the way that he wants. And so those are all things that we built in. And then he mentioned the passport program, and again, that's something you guys are looking at, like right here, kid that grew up in a little town in Idaho. I grew up on a family dairy. If anybody knows anything about dairy, you milk the cows morning and night, and all the rest of the time you're growing the crops, watering the crops, harvesting the crops. Or in my dad's case, we're in the shop in the middle of the winter, fixing the machines that need to be used next year. And so it's a full-time job, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, because when the Lord said rest on Sunday, he never told the cows that. So they still wanted to eat, they wanted to get milked, and that's what you got to do. There's nothing else, no other option, I guess. That's what you got to do. And so I grew up that way, and that's all I knew. I literally only knew farming. All I knew was, I was born there, raised there, and that was life. When I left, I knew that my younger brother would take over because he's just like my dad. So I knew that I should be the one that steps aside. So I left, not knowing, not even not knowing what I wanted to do, but not even knowing what was out there, what the possibilities were, what my options were. I didn't know any of it, and it was scary. It was something that I still remember as I have to make a living. I have no idea what I'm going to do. But my dad had a couple of cool rules. One was when you turn 18 and graduate high school, I will love you June, July, and August, but come September 1, you will be gone. And that was non-negotiable. And I knew that come September 1st, after my graduation from high school, I would not be welcome there anymore. And I wouldn't be welcome until, in my dad's words, I had a trade or a college degree. And then I could come back if I wanted. At that point, I would be welcome again. And so I went not knowing what I was going to do. But yet I knew how to work. I knew how to persevere. And that's what I did. And life changed my direction a couple of times, but put me in this industry unknowing to me. I had no idea this industry was here. I'd never really heard about it even. But he put me in this industry and then left me there. Instead of being there 3 months, I ended up being there longer because I finished school and then had to stay because I married a really cute girl who I promised her dad I would let her finish her college degree before we moved back to Idaho. So stayed in Utah another year, and one thing led to another, and I ended up staying in the industry first, a year, 2 years, 5 years, 12 years, and then just stayed with that. And it gave me experiences I would have never had any doing anything else. My life has been totally different. I have been blessed beyond measure, been able to travel, meet amazing people. And as we were putting this together again, the owner of our company, Rudy, said, "Hey, Mark, wouldn't it be cool?" Because he grew up, his family were refugees from World War II, and they immigrated to the U.S. And he grew up on a chicken farm, and he never thought he'd do anything either, basically. The two of us were talking about our lives, and he said, "Wouldn't it be cool if we could build something into Singy that would let other people have those life experiences that we've had, let us share those things with them?" And I was like, "Dang, that would be cool as heck." So we put together the passport program that Stacy also mentioned, and that is Again, something that I love. We just got done with the Director Invitational. We had a bunch of people out here for the Director Invitational up at Sundance, and we had a couple mentors back here. Melissa was at the Director Invitational as a guest, and she wanted me to mention that if anybody needs a +1, give her a call. She'd be more than happy to sacrifice time out of her day and out of her week to be able to come back to Sundance and to experience that again. She had a great time. But we had a couple of mentors here, and we were able to spend the day with them yesterday, and we went snowmobiling because it's winter here, and we had a ball, had a blast. It was a gorgeous day up in the tops of the mountains, in the forest, and looking out over the view. I was told that was one of Allison brought her husband and her boys. She said that was their best trip ever. That was just the funnest thing they've ever done. And again, I love that because that's why it's there. That's why we built it. So it's one thing to put it all together and hope it works. And it's another thing, I promise you, to see it work and to see it bless lives, change lives, allow people to grow and progress and become the people that they truly have the potential to be. But I think a lot of times they're so used to being held down by work and bosses and everything else that they forget who they are and what they can become. And so with Singular, one of the cool things to me is we allow people to become who they truly are and who they truly have the potential to become. And so I love that. And I'm talking from the company, but each one of you, as you build your organization, each of the people that you hear from after me, got to go through that same process. They started out brand new. They didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know what they were saying, but they knew they were excited and they wanted to work, right? They started going, and as more came, as their group grew, as they had to step up and be a leader, as they got those experiences, they grew. And they became the people that you're going to hear in just a sec. They didn't start out that way. And I think everybody who starts out looks at somebody, oh, I could never be like that. Well, give yourself 3, 4, 5, 10 years, right? You don't make that jump instantaneously, but by doing the work and by progressing, yes, you can. Okay, you can be a charismatic speaker. You can be a phenomenal leader. You can be somebody with all these life experiences that you're going to see and hear. But it all starts with that first step. Starts by saying, okay, I'll try the products. And then it starts by saying, honestly, you're going to share, you're going to help other people. And I always say, how selfish is it if we get something and we think, I'm just keeping it, I'm not telling anybody. And people think they're scared to share. I always say, who are you robbing of the same opportunity that you just got by not sharing? Okay. We're here to help other people. We're here to share. And not everybody's going to want it, and that's fine. But the ones that do want it, we're here to offer it to them. Okay. That's what we do. That's all we do is we just offer to people that opportunity, that blessing. And if they take it and run with it, they'll get the same experiences, the same blessings we have. So thanks, Stacy, for having me on. And again, I love what we do, you guys. If you're brand new, check it out. It's pretty dang cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mark. And, thank you for building the culture of this company that you've built. I've been here for 9 years, and I can say it's not changed one bit. I don't ever foresee it changing. And that's one of the greatest things about Singular is just it's based on such a great culture that you and Rudy and the other leaders have just set that platform for all of us. And so thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for sharing everything that you shared with us. And next of all, I want to bring on Logan Briggs. She is an executive with the company. And if you're not familiar with the company and not familiar with our rank structure, that is, and our payment plan, that is a monthly average of about $13,000 a month. Okay, a month. I'm sure that would be life-changing to just about anyone here watching this. I can't imagine how that could not be life-changing for anyone here watching this. And she's from Kansas City. She is a second-generation Zinger. Her mom is one of our great leaders in Singular, has been with the company for many years, and has really helped Logan build a successful Singular business that she has built. So Logan, if you would come in and please share with us your story.
Hi guys. Okay, yes, I am Logan Briggs, and I don't want you hearing that I'm second generation X and my mom did this and that's why I'm able to do this, because I will tell you it's the exact opposite. I was about the hardest no on this business that you're ever going to find, but I'll get to that part. So what I want to say is yes, I'm 27. I've been doing this seriously for about 2 years. Whenever you say the average monthly income, I'm just like, yeah, how is this my life? But anyways, like Mark said, I have it written down on this piece of paper. I just want you to know before you hear and before you're inspired that every single one of us started at zero. And you've got to get something here tonight that you can take home. And I don't mean you're probably sitting at home. I don't mean you can take home literally. I mean that you can take home figuratively. If there's something in you that's just like, this is crazy, I feel moved, whatever, let that hit you, plant the seed and go do something about this. Because the truth is that we're not supposed to say anyone can do this, but if you want to change your life and you want to do this, you can be massively, massively beyond your wildest dreams successful here. Because I am living that life right now. And I was never someone that could do this or would do this or be that girl or be in network marketing. Okay. So if you give this the opportunity to change your life, it will. And I want you guys to seriously open your heart and take something that you hear tonight home, meaning in your heart. So yes, I grew up in this. I'm second generation singular. I watched my mom build this. I helped raise some of my 6 siblings while my mom was doing this. I thought you had to be someone like my mom to do this. So I was like, no. Then my little sister got involved and she went to college for nutrition and health and weight loss or not weight loss. You don't go to college for weight loss, but she cared about her health. And I'm like, if you have to care about your health to do singular and have to care about counting macros and stuff, there's no way I'm doing that either. I was a blogger, former, I guess I still do a little bit, makeup artist. And so I'm not your typical person to be in this company. And a lot of people are like, well, why didn't you join a makeup or whatever company? Because I'd never be anywhere else but here. And I think that speaks volumes, right? Because I don't have the qualifications to be here. How beautiful is that? I have a college degree, yes. And that's part of my story, but nobody has to have a qualification to be here. My mom's not a college graduate. I think she was 6 hours from graduating college, which is very like her. And dude, to make the kind of money that she makes with no degree and just being who you are and loving on people, is there anything better? So anyways, I was a hard no. Like I said, my mom did it. My sister did it. I dabbled in it a couple of times. A lot of people look at my story and think I was an overnight success and didn't know that I was the girl that tried. And then it got a little hard and I couldn't hit the first rank. And then I quit. And then I tried again and I couldn't hit the second rank for 6 months and I quit. And then whenever I actually decided that this was going to work for me, because I didn't need this until I did. And I pray people don't wait that long to do it, because I was a single mom, 25, living in my grandparents' basement. As a blogger, life looked perfect, right? If you went to my social media 2 years ago, you would never know that there was a single thing going on in my life. So I just want you to take that and just know that whoever looks like their job and their family and everything is great, just understand that nobody is too good or would not do this based on how their life looks on social media, because that was me and that just wasn't the truth. And I know that that's the case for a lot of people. I didn't come for the products. I grew up taking the products. They're great. They work. I had lost pounds and kept it off after I had my son. I came for the business. I really came for the business. It was the business that got me here, and it's the business that keeps me here. I didn't have a product testimony until collagen came out, and I got to executive. So whatever, if you want to come for the business, you can totally do that too. I'm just here to let you know that there is not a cookie cutter kind of person or way that you can do this. You can be whoever the heck it is that you want to be and do this. And I think that is so beautiful. Like I said, some pretty crazy stuff happened whenever I actually decided that this was going to work for me. I locked arms with my sister who wanted to do this. And we just said, what happened if we gave this 6 months of really serious effort? It was COVID. That's when my business was born. I was a makeup artist. Like I said, all weddings were canceled. I wasn't making that great of money, but at that point, then I wasn't going to make any money. I needed this to work. And sometimes we don't do things until we need them to work. So that was the place that I had gotten myself, because comfort is my biggest enemy in my life. Comfort is what kept me where I was for a long time. And so anyways, what happened when I decided is I went from a silver manager, which took me 6 months to hit silver manager from manager. And I went executive in less than 3 months after that. You guys, that's going from making around $1,000 a month to making around $16,000 a month. I don't know. So that is what happened for me in less than 3 months. My whole entire life changed from making that decision and just deciding I'm going for this. Like, I don't care. I'm going for this. Grabbed my sister. We did it, made crazy things happen.
I earned 5 or 6 all expense paid trips, somewhere around there. I haven't even taken a lot of the trips. I lost count of the trips because that is how crazy we are. We're rewarded for doing all the things that I was doing. I was now getting trips. So I actually was also motivated by a trip. There's a trip that you get that anybody can do. Like you could sign up tomorrow and be on a beach with us in a few months, kind of a trip. So if you're a travel junkie, you might want to ask the person who got you on here about that. I was just going for the dang trip. I was going for the trip, but I accidentally hit executive and I accidentally changed my whole entire life. And a lot of people think because a lot of crazy stuff happened during COVID in our company grew by so much, like looked at it like I was maybe an overnight success, and they didn't know that I had tried a couple of times and failed. So if you've been with a couple other companies or you've even tried this before and failed, who cares? Like if my sister would have said, Logan's tried it, she's not going to ever be good at this, I wouldn't be where I am. So I just love that we get to meet people where they're at and love on them and their life. And then when it's time for them to go, they know where I'm at and we can get going on changing their life like I did. So I hope that it inspires you that you can be whoever you want and do this. Like I said, I was a single mom. My life's unrecognizable now. About 2 years later, I went to Dubai with my husband. That's where we got to honeymoon for free in Dubai and didn't have to pay for it. I've been to Punta Cana. I've been to somewhere else in Mexico with the company. My life is so unrecognizable. I have to literally pinch myself. I'm not a struggling single mom anymore. We have our own house, my kids and all the sports that he wants to be in. And the coolest part is like, I get to raise my baby. Like when his school calls and says, hey, there's COVID in the classroom, I'm like, cool, then we'll just snuggle all day because I can do that. And I just think that's cool. And I will tell you that it doesn't matter what happens in this world. I will never, ever, ever stop doing this. I will fight like hell to always do this because of what it has given me. I wake up, I decide what I want to wear that day, what I want to do, when I want to work, where I want to be when I'm working. And it's just like, I just have to have people know that you don't have to choose between time freedom and financial freedom. There is a way where you can have both. And that's here. And I just think that it is beautiful and incredible. And I will never stop shouting it from the rooftops. So that is my story.
Awesome. Thank you, Logan. And one of the things that I'm so glad you touched on was, doesn't matter who you are, you can be successful in Zingler. Doesn't matter your background. Doesn't matter if you're a stay-at-home mom. It doesn't matter if you're a single mom. It doesn't matter if you're in nursing or you're a police officer, you have a business background, you don't have a business background. It doesn't matter. There have been people extremely successful in Zingler in just about any kind of occupation / background that you can think of. So like Logan said, don't overthink this to say, well, I'm not, I don't have the experience. I don't have the knowledge. You get started. You take that first step on your own to say, yes, I'm ready to do this. Once you do that, you're going to have so much support that if you just stick with the resources, the training, the tools, the tips that's given to you, you are going to grow into this and have the opportunity to be very, very successful here. So Logan, thank you so much for joining us. Next person I'm going to bring on is Tessa Walkup. And I know Tessa Walkup very well because she's on my team. She's been on my team for 6 years, I believe, between 5 and 6 years. And she is an absolute rock star. She loves helping people. She is one of my go-tos on my team. When I need to bounce something off somebody on the team, I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? Let's talk about it. And she also reaches out to other people that's not even on her team. If they reach out to her and say, hey, can you share your story? She is always willing to help. And that's really all it takes to be successful here, is just to have a big heart and want to help people. And she is a platinum manager with us. And on that pay scale for our compensation plan, that is making about $2,300 a month, I think it is. And let me tell you, who wouldn't want to make an extra $2,300 a month? I mean, for most people, that's a car payment and house payment both, and have a little bit of extra money left over. So think about what an extra $2,300 a month would do for you. And that's what Tessa's doing. So Tessa, if you would, hon, come on and share your story with us.
So first off, thanks for having me, Stacy. It's just a blessing, and I'm humbled to be here. So many of you know that I am a stay-at-home mom, as Stacy said, and I have a family, and we're truly blessed, financially stable. You know, I wasn't looking for Singular, but it's been a blessing because being a stay-at-home mom of a daughter who happens to have Down syndrome, I'm needed a lot. And I'm also a bonus mom to 4, and I'm a Gigi to 7, which is phenomenal. And there were so many times that I felt like I was not contributing financially. I know being a mom, I'm always busy, I should say, and I'm always giving to everybody else and forgetting about me. But I wanted to just do something for us and have the extra. So that's what Singular has allowed me to do. And I realized that it was changing other people's lives. I realized that I could help change other people's lives. I could make an impact and add value to people's lives while also making an income for our family. So as doing that, I have surrounded myself with amazing people. And that's what Singular is, the community. The community is amazing. The culture of this company, it's the most generous, the most giving. They're the most selfless people that you'll ever meet. Singular has allowed me to help so many more people, whether it be the Special Olympics, which is one of my favorites, the Down Syndrome Network. And as you can see, Kendra, she's right here by my side because she loves Singular too. And it has allowed me to help my mother. She lives on a fixed income, and being there with her at times in West Virginia, because she lives away from me, she had an issue with her washer and dryer. I didn't have to call my husband and say, hey, I need to buy my mom a washer and dryer. I was able to contribute and do that. And it's such a blessing to me because I didn't have to make that phone call. So doing those things, I can help so many more people. I can travel more. I can be with the people I love when I need to be there. If I get a phone call tonight, I can travel straight to them because I'm not tied down to a 9-to-5. And nowhere in corporate America can you give yourself a $27,000 raise a year. I mean, like, I made that contribution to my family, and it's been such a blessing. But I just want you to know that Singular's been such a blessing. And if you've not got started yet on your journey, you better get there, because I don't know where I would be without my people here at Singular. Thanks
Awesome.
for having me.
I love it, Tessa. Thank you so much for being on here and sharing your story tonight. And hey, Kendra, I can see you there in the corner. Hey, girl, love you.
Yeah.
So, and Tessa, you know, I've kind of been on this journey with you. So I've had the pleasure and the blessing to see what this has done for you. And I know you really opened your heart up and shared some things that, you know, that you've been able to do that's, you know, not only helped your daughter, but helped the community that your daughter lives in. So that's such a blessing. So next, I'm going to bring on Melissa Adams. She is, we kind of joke about it. Her husband knows this. My wife knows about this. I call her my work spouse. We collaborate on so much. And here's the great thing about Singular. We are not on the same team. We're on the Singular team, but we're not on the same necessarily business team. So that's what Singular allows us to do, is be able to work with people throughout the whole company to just brainstorm and collaborate and come up with things, and have the opportunity to do this with her day in and day out. So Melissa, I'm going to say this right here. If you guys who have not talked to Melissa, she has one of the biggest hearts. And one of the things that she is the best at is talking believability into people before they have it in themselves. She is the world's best of doing that. So if you're someone that you're not sure that this is right for you, you're not sure if you can be successful with it, I'm going to challenge you to get on the phone with Melissa, because she's going to tell you you are, and she's going to show you that you are. But by the time you get off the phone with her, you're going to know in your mind and your heart, yes, you can do this. So Melissa, if you would, hun, come on, unmute yourself, and I'm going to let you share your story and let you go ahead and close us out tonight.
Thank you so much, Stacy, and I'm so thankful that you're my partner. And thank you, Logan and Tessa and Mark. I'm so appreciative that you guys took your time tonight, and all of you that have jumped on. You know, you've heard these fantastic people telling about real life-changing info and stories, and I'm here to tell you right now that you can. You know, the reason I can pour belief into somebody is because I believe, like Logan said, that anybody can do this. You just got to have a dream, and you've got to say yes. And then that's all it takes. I've been part of Singular for 6 years. I'm from Georgia. I came from corporate America, working 60 hours a week, traveling 3 to 4 days a week. And I can tell you right now, the last thing I had time for was another business. I said I had no time, but what I found was, in just a few days after starting this, it was different. I knew it was different, and I knew the people that I knew needed what I had. And so instead of using not having the time for an excuse, I just started telling people and sharing. And within just a few months, I was able to pay my car payment and get my products paid for. About 6 months in, I was paying a house payment. A year in, I was making a part-time income in just the nooks and crannies of my day. And in the 6 years that I've been here, the two biggest excuses that I've heard from people why they can't do this is no money, they don't have the money, and they don't have the time. And I'll tell you right now, that's the two reasons that you need to do this right there. What would an extra $500, $1,000, $2,000 a month look like for your family? Right now with the inflation, especially like in the gas prices, I mean, it would be able to fill up your tank without cringing at the number at the pump, paying for uniforms for your kids or dues or whatever it is, that those extra incomes that come. You wouldn't have to cringe when those bills came in. What about paying off that credit card from Christmas that you had to charge all of Christmas on? What about just the little things that come up, that the unexpected things, braces, or, you know, an appliance breaking down, or your car needing tires, being able to spoil your grandbabies. Me and Stacy both are obsessed with our grandchildren. What about being able to spoil them even on a fixed income? You know, while you're on that fixed income, having that extra income to do things that you would normally not have the money to do and have to say no to. And then you go to, what about more time? You know, that has been the most amazing thing for me, is being able to spend as much time as I want with those grandbabies, because I'm going to tell you, when my daughter was growing up, I didn't get to see a lot of her first, because I worked through her whole childhood, and being able to see those things that my grandbabies are doing. And I just found out tonight, I've got 2 boys, and I just found out tonight that I'm having a granddaughter. And just knowing that I'm going to be able to be there for Taylor, and to be there when that baby's born, and to help her with the other 2 boys and whatever she needs. I don't have to ask off work. I don't have to ask time off, because this gives me the time freedom that I can do those things. And what is it for you? You know, is it, do you come home and just give your family the leftovers after you've worked all day? I mean, what is it that you want as far as time? Is it being able to make memories with the people who matter the most to you? You know, you're the only one that can decide that you're sick and tired of being where you're at. You're the only one that can decide that you want more than what you have right now. You are the only one that can decide that you're going to go after your own dreams instead of living vicariously through someone else, or working 40 plus hours a week on that hamster wheel to make somebody else's dreams come true. If you want to know what has to change in order to make a change in your life, go look in that mirror. The person looking back at you is the only one that that can take that first step and say yes. The person in the mirror is the one that has to decide that they're worth more and that they deserve to live their healthiest life. That person in the mirror is the one that has to make the first step. You're worthy of it. You've got to know that you're amazing and that you can do anything that you set your mind to. And the greatest thing is when you say yes, you're not only saying yes to the greatest products, you're not only saying yes to the greatest compensation plan, but you're saying yes to a culture and a family so much bigger than me or you. Someone to lock arms with you and inspire you and hold you up on hard days and celebrate with you on your every victory, pray with you, love you, and believe in you. That's what you get with Singular. So I ask you to message the person that invited you to this event tonight. Tell them you're ready to say yes. Tell them you're ready for more than what you have now. Tell them that you're ready to be part of Singular. Come with us. We want you in our family. We love you and hope you have a fantastic night.